There's nothing funnier than a fart. The sound, the sensation, the smell when it's yours. Also, to be clear, not only is there nothing funnier than a fart, there's no funnier way to refer to a fart than to say fart. We've come up with all these clever, creative expressions, but no, not rip ass, break wind, or cut the cheese, just fart. Fart. I don't have the closest relationship with my father, but this is us hugging. But one of my favorite childhood memories was when we would all be sitting around as a family, and my dad, a deadly serious man with a genius IQ, would fart. So loud. My sister and I would die laughing while my mom shook her head as he just sat there like nothing happened. And then after a beat, without looking away from whatever he was reading, he'd smirk. But I also have bad memories in this category too. Poop was once a wholly positive part of my young life. And then one day, in first grade, I was enjoying a nice number 2 in the boys' bathroom at school when a group of 5th graders entered both stalls on either side of mine, climbed on the toilets, looked over the walls, and laughed and pointed and made fun of me. I haven't shit in 29 years. In reality, I pretty much never pooped at school again, and I genuinely hope those kids are dead. I know if someone said that I had to be the one to kill them, but it meant that I'd stop having a panic attack every time I use a public restroom, I would do it in a heartbeat. In fact, I would do it in a fartbeat. Unfortunately, this option isn't and has never been on the table. So for the remainder of my adolescence, I held it in. Before I made it to high school, when I was allowed to leave campus at lunch, this inability to poop in public was pretty problematic. It's a miracle I didn't fail all my middle school classes, considering I spent every afternoon clinching for dear life. I'm not sure if my current stomach problems are more connected to my anxiety or over a decade of daily ass Kegels, but either way, they're forever entwined. Throughout the second half of my teenage years, things normalized a bit, but in my early 20s, while I was wiping, I noticed a bump. A butthole bump. So I reluctantly made a doctor's appointment. I got a new doctor, which made the whole experience that much more challenging. As someone who's been anxious about anything publicly butt-related since I was 6, this was a tough day. And beyond the embarrassment of the appointment and the vulnerability and the nudity, I still had to worry about the bump. I thought it was a tumor, maybe a hemorrhoid, hopefully a horribly placed zit. Thankfully, it was closer to the latter, just some bump that needed ointment. It went away in a week. But a few months later, I was doing this totally normal thing that I do where I bend over the toilet and casually examine what just came out of me. A shamefully regular occurrence in my bathroom. And was horrified to see, let's all take a deep breath together. Ready? Deep breath. Intestinal worms. If you didn't take a deep breath, that's your fault, all right? I called to make another doctor's appointment, and the nurse told me to be prepared to collect a stool sample. So I went into my bathroom with a Ziploc bag, and I collected a stool sample. I put it in my freezer, and as far as I knew, I had done exactly what the nurse asked. A few days later, I went back to my doctor, unbuttoned my pants, bent over, and was told that my self-diagnosis was highly unlikely, but I knew what I saw. He said the tests would confirm or deny my suspicions and asked if I'd been told about giving a stool sample. I proudly said yes. Right as he turned to retrieve the stool sample kit, at the exact moment that I pulled the Ziploc bag out of my pocket. He turned back around to hand me the kit, but stopped short when he saw what I was holding. There was a long pause. A tumbleweed blew through the room. A coyote howled in the distance. He finally broke the silence and said, "Did you go to the bathroom in a Ziploc bag?" I looked at the bag. I looked at him. Back of the bag. Back at him. And then down at the floor. And I said, yes, I did. And then I froze it. He thanked me for being proactive before politely instructing me to throw it away. He then sent me home with the kit to undergo a fairly extensive and disgusting series of collecting specimens to test. I'll spare the details, but for what it's worth, if you ever have to do this, don't. Just change your name and leave the country. Not long after, the results came back, and no, I did not have worms. I was just an idiot. For the record, it was mucus. I'm sorry. All right. As soon as I began to feel the relief from the previous incident, another one popped up. Within weeks of the worms, I felt a tickle, a butthole tickle. It was a weird sensation I'd never experienced. Every so often, I'd get this sharp pain at random times, and again went back to my doctor, and again found myself pantless, bent down with this poor schmuck face first in my butt-based hypochondria. This time, I felt the need to say to him, look, I swear I don't have some crazy doctor looking at my asshole fetish. And he just faked a laugh and told me I was full of shit. I said, seriously, man, this is a nightmare for me. I don't want to have to keep coming back here for this. And he said again, no, you're full of shit. And I said, Doc, I know this sucks for both of us, but I'm trying to be real with you here, okay? I got bullied for pooping when I was 6, so now every time I go to the bathroom, I feel like a child and I'm filled with shame. And at this point, I'm convinced that these ass problems are some sort of twisted cosmic prank designed to drive me insane, and you giving me a hard time right now is making it so much worse, so please just work with me here, please. He finally clarified, I know. I'm saying you're full of shit. Literally, you are constipated. He said, that's why you're having the pressure. I said, oh. And then I left and requested a new doctor. Years later, I went to a specialist in my late 20s, and I was told that I have IBS, and that helped quiet the anxiety a bit. I came to terms with a manageable diagnosis. I wasn't worried about my butt anymore. I got to enjoy it all again, you know? Pooping, having pooped, and especially farts. The sound, the sensation, the smell when it was mine. But then last year, my girlfriend and I went to get Mongolian hot pot. An amazing eating experience where you cook a variety of meats and vegetables in a giant pot of broth at your table. It's one of our favorites. And just to be clear, I love spicy food. Eat it all the time, never have a problem. Spoiler alert. We enjoyed our fancy lunch, and as we were winding down, my life changed forever. I misjudged a fart. Right around when we got the bill, I felt a fart build. And as we do when we feel a fart, I leaned over to discreetly let it out. But for the first time in my life, at 33 years old, that fart was not a fart, it was a reckoning. It was like having this sneaking suspicion that your house is haunted, but then you find out that it's a man secretly living in your attic who just wants to come down and hang out. So it happened, and I stood up quietly, horrified, and made my way to the restroom, which miraculously was empty for the duration of my stay. My heart goes out to anyone who's had to deal with shitting their pants in a busy public bathroom. The little 6-year-old boy in me that got made fun of for pooping was incredibly grateful for the privacy during this delicate time. Again, I'll spare the details, but let's just say that was the day Mongolian hot pot became a double entendre. What's important is that I, wearing no underwear, left that bathroom a new person. That day I became an adult. It was my bar shitzvah. Growing up can mean a lot of things. Puberty, moving out of your parents' house, having a career, supporting yourself, starting a family. But growing up can also be the moment when you're betrayed by a fart. The same kind of fart that brings so much joy to so many people that shockingly isn't the same kind of fart at all. A new kind of fart, a sinister fart, a fart that's actually something else. This is when you truly become an adult. When farts are no longer a laughing matter, but instead a warning I will heed for the rest of my life. It was a big day. So I sat back down at our table after being in the bathroom for at least 15 minutes, and my girlfriend asked, what's going on? I took a deep breath, got down on one knee, took her hands, looked her right in the eyes and said, I shit my pants. And she laughed, and I laughed, and we laughed. Like little kids hearing a fart before being burdened with the judgment of the outside world. We laughed. That's how you know you're dating the right person. When what could have been the most embarrassing moment of your life instead becomes a beautiful memory. That's a woman after my own heart. But let's be clear. After all is said and done, there's still nothing funnier than a fart. Period. End of debate. Even after they turn on you, Farts win funny. That's it. That's all. That's a wrap. And sometimes, yes, that fart is actually a crap. Thank you very much.